I'm back. Hey, everybody. Paul Fontaine, Jeff Hawkins here. Dynamite Show here on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel on X. And if you're listening tomorrow on the Fight Game Media free audio feed, I want to thank you all for watching and or listening. I got people in the chat already. It's good to see John here. Yeah, Jeff, I had a much needed week off. I did watch Dynamite last week.
I too had a much needed week off from you. So
well, there you go.
Kidding.
I did.
Special thank you to Kevin Ely for filling in.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'll bring it up close.
It's like Glenn Stefani. I ain't no hollaback girl.
I got Brody King.
Oh, okay.
And Darby Allin.
Are you going to play with your dolls on the string?
Yeah. No, I found them at Walmart, and I gave Emily a choice of what she wanted, and she chose between about 5 different things. She chose Roxanne Perez. Believe it or not. So, yeah.
Very tiny figure.
It is, actually. It's really tiny. But she's very happy. Yeah. So, yeah, we had a good time. Pink was awesome. I strongly recommend her to anyone. So so this was funny. Because I got to experience what probably normal people experience when they're watching a wrestling show. And
hatred for me? Yes, you did.
No, I tuned in. I tuned in to the last quarter. So the main event's already just getting started. And so it's Jay White and Christian. And first off, they were talking about something that Moxley had done earlier in the night. But they didn't tell me. They didn't show me a highlight. They just mentioned it.
Yes.
Moxley did something. I have no idea if it was good, bad, indifferent. Like, I have no idea because I didn't see it. And if you're going to talk about it, show us, or at least explain it, or don't mention it. You know what I mean? So there's that. Then at 8:57, which, is, it's Central Time. That's because we were in Minnesota. 3 minutes before the show is scheduled to end, they go to commercial. And my wife was like, "Oh, okay, can we flip over to, whatever she wanted to watch?" And I'm like, No, the match is still going on. He's like, "Well, the show's over." I'm like, "No, it's not." And she's like, "Come on." So then we have. So
you almost got divorced on this night because
we didn't almost get divorced. So I have to watch this show, and they come back from break, and they're doing nothing, and then they do that weird thing with Hangman and where he misses his cue, and then he's lying on the ground with a goofy look on his face. And my wife is, "What the hell is this? Can we just switch the channel?" And I'm like, "No, I got to finish watching." And
so you almost got divorced that night.
Oh my God. So I just, and that thing died in the ratings. So I'm not surprised, but I kind of I liked parts of the show. I didn't like other parts. But I do like a lot of what they're doing, and they continued it this week. A lot of the building to future shows. They started that last week. They continued it here. Rampage and Collision, I thought, were pretty good. They kind of one built into the other, and then Battle of the Belts was not bad either. So, they're kind of, I don't want to say they're turning a corner, but maybe they are. I don't know.
No, they're not. But go ahead.
I was not into the
Outrunners. How can you do it?
Don't get me started on that. So they, I'm not that Moxley stuff last week. I wasn't terribly into, and then people were just raving about it online, and I'm like, are they watching something different than I'm watching? But then he did a promo on, I think it was Collision, and he actually explained what he's doing for the first time, and I'm finally starting to figure it out. And then they basically did the same promo to kick off. What?
Oh, did they? Okay, I was going to ask you to explain it for the audience who may not have watched it.
Well, it was the same thing. I will when I recap the show, but it was basically the same thing he said at the beginning of this show. Okay. So, I'm starting to get I'm still a little confused. I still don't quite understand why only jobbers care about him. And if you're anything above a mid-carder, you're immune. Even though he told us anyone affiliated with All Elite Wrestling is on his target list. And what really got me last week, and this is what really bothered me, was they did that promo at the beginning, the cold open, and he flat out said, if you're just here to party and have a good time, you're on mark, basically. The very next segment, we see FTR and the Outrunners in the ring, dancing like idiots, and no Moxley. His crew should have been out there at that point. And then there was another segment later where it was kind of the same thing, and no Moxley, none of his crew. Adam Cole comes out right after Moxley's promo, and this is right after the pay-per-view, and he was one of the ones at the end. He's smiling, he's happy, and the crowd like didn't give two shits about Adam Cole last week. They cared about him a little more this week, I thought, but maybe because they didn't really give him a chance to just talk and bore them to sleep. But yeah, I think they like MJF more than they like Adam Cole, and I'm not sure how they're going to feel about these 4 baby faces teaming up to beat the heroic heel MJF. But we'll get into that too.
Paul, there's just one problem with the whole Moxley thing, though.
What's
we had a takeover angle where they immediately attacked Tony Khan.
Yes.
Everything else is just there.
I don't think Tony Khan really cares about Moxley's crew.
I don't think so either, but at the same time, if we're gonna have takeover angles, you gotta go for the big head as opposed. And I guess they're building to that with the Elite.
Okay, so right. this is where I think where I'm starting to figure out this isn't really a takeover. So it's not like I know what he said.
You think it's a course correction?
Yes, and so but I think he's after the wrong people. Like for that, like he should actually be after Tony and or the Elite. Yeah, and maybe he'll eventually get there. But as of right now, the guys he's going after are, maybe he's trimming the fat.
No, I still maintain that the Bucks and
you think they're going to turn face?
Other than Jack Perry, yes, I think they're going to turn face and try and save the company. I think Jack Perry remains a heel.
Yeah, well, he was telling them like today. I think you kind of, it was off camera, but you could kind of hear it a little bit. Was he said, it could be you. Like he's trying to convince them that if you get involved with this, you're going to be next, and you don't want any part of this. So like it makes sense from Perry's standpoint. But I mean, then what about everyone else? Like, where's MJF fit into this? Where's Will Ospreay, Takeshita, Ricochet, MVP's group for that matter? It was all over this thing.
No, so far it's nothing but red shirts,
right?
From Star Trek.
But there's hints and teases, and I'm not sure. I guess Garcia is the king of the red shirts, and Orange is like their overlord.
Well, no, Orange is on that next step level. Whereas Daniel Garcia is the boss of this level.
I think Orange is probably getting the title shot at Full Gear would be my guess, and then it's probably Darby next. That's what I'm assuming, and then I don't think either one of those guys have beaten Mox, and then whoever is going to be the one that beats him is probably after that. Maybe Kenny. My money's on Kenny. To come back and defend AEW, and maybe the Bucks with him. At that point, it wouldn't make a ton of sense, but who cares? I honestly, I really, really like the show a lot today, and we'll get into it. And so if you like us bashing the show, well, don't listen to me. Listen to Jeff, because I don't think he liked it as much as I did. But before we get into the recap, there's a couple things, and I think this may have been prior to last week's show, but I wasn't here last week, so we didn't get a chance to talk about it. But the news that Jimmy Jacobs was released, I guess, or quit. I believe
he quit. He was not released. He gave his notice and said, "Look, I'm a little burned out. I need to go home."
And home apparently is Maple Leaf Wrestling.
Sure.
Yeah, because that's where he was on the weekend.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Oh yeah. He was backstage there helping out. So I mean, and a lot of people are happy because they blame him for a lot of the badness in AEW. And if in fact they are turning a corner, it's all gonna be Jimmy Jacobs' fault. Now we got rid of him, and now
I'm waiting for that.
Force. Yeah.
I'm waiting for that, but I don't think. Look, I don't like his creative instincts. They're not my favorite thing in the world. I think he was a perfect fit for WWE, to be honest with you.
Yeah. He was just a voice in the room. That's all.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's just it. But it's also like it's also one of those things in terms of a room where it's like, if you're heavy into that, you need a counterbalance for that in the room. Otherwise, those types of ideas, usually get through kind of
thing. Like Russo.
A little bit, yeah. It's I always call it the curtain. Well, see, I don't call it. See, Jacobs isn't exactly like this, but the thing I always explain to people is like, do you know if I said the name Kurt Sutter, do you know who I'm talking about? Kurt Sutter. Go ahead.
Vaguely.
Okay, Kurt Sutter was the creator of Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
That TV show. He actually just left the show that was supposed to like go to air like in a couple of weeks that he just created as well. But he is one of those guys that has wild and wacky ideas in the room, and it's great when you're on. He got Sons of Anarchy because he was on staff for the Shield.
Okay.
And a lot of his storylines were like the Armenian money train. If you ever watched the Shield, that was all him, and guys cutting
I did watch
off and things like that.
Okay.
But Sean Ryan can control those. It was a room with Sean Ryan, David Mamet, and Kurt Sutter. I mean, you have to be a strong showrunner to control the flow, but you want the guy with the kind of off ideas. But when he gets his own show, it can sometimes go a little bit off the rails, especially if he has too much creative control on it. So it's a good problem to have too many really wild creative ideas. I think he went too far. I mean, for me, Jacob's thing is he likes his supernatural and he likes his dark, spooky stuff, and that's just not me.
And that fits better in like a TNA or even a Maple Leaf Pro or NXT for that matter, probably.
I think if he wants to work with Scott D'Amore up there, I think there's less pressure. I think you can do.
Well, they don't have TV, so it's
more
really
small arena wacky stuff if you wanted to. I think it's.
Look, they'll probably blame him for that Bully Ray.
He's had a hell of a run in national television for the last 10 years or so. So I mean, there is nothing wrong with backing off and going, you know what? I want to do something on a little smaller scale right now. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. And then what was the other one? Contract. Something
Forbidden Door.
Right.
Tony wants to avoid the mistakes of the past.
Gotcha.
Yeah, WWE poaching Stephanie Vaquer and Julia.
Well, here's a clue. Don't put people on TV that aren't under contract. That's your first one.
But it also limits your ability to do one shots if you only want to do a one shot. Like for me, I still think that Mercedes wants to wrestle Tessa Blanchard.
Okay.
And I think that's a match you want to put on American TV on your product as opposed to just CMLL. They're not going to sign Tessa Blanchard, but as a one shot, to appease their biggest women's star.
But you can do a one shot with Stephanie. They actually, if you recall, they actually aired a video package before she even debuted, told us she's coming. Then they gave her some squash matches. Then they put her in a pay-per-view match. Like
they built her properly. Yeah,
they built her properly, and they made it seem like she was part of the crew. Yeah, like Matt says, the belief was Vaquer was under contract. I thought she was under contract.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. Don't do belief, then sign her.
Yeah, or if you just want to do a one shot, then just do a one shot.
Or tell her we're not signing you, but don't do this. Well, if we treat you well for a couple weeks, I'm going to use that for leverage every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
I heard somebody say that they may, with the Tessa thing, maybe it was you. They may do it as a trick to get WWE to sign her, like put her on TV.
No, there are people in WWE that want her to be signed.
Yeah, they know about her.
Not only do they know about her, but she has friends.
Yeah, and enough time has passed. Plus, WWE probably doesn't care as much about that stuff.
Yeah, AEW doesn't want the backlash, and I get that too. They want to be the nice, friendly company to Twitter.
Yeah, to Twitter, but I mean, she does, but I think it's less of an issue in WWE. Like even that Carlito line on Monday, like I that kind of blew over, and apparently Io and Kyrie said they were fine with it.
Hasn't blown over in my circle, but okay.
Oh, well, they said they're okay with it, but nobody's going to listen to them. You can write your way out of that. You can give
Carlito comeuppance on screen and have Chinese and then have Io and Kyrie just emasculate him.
Adam Pearce says, "The Japanese, you idiot."
Yeah,
like, that's all he had to say.
Yes,
but if you watch it, he was taken aback because he wasn't expecting the line. So
I think Carlito thought it was a dumb joke. I didn't think he thought it was cheap heat. I thought it was just like, hey, I'm a dumb guy.
Yes.
And here's these hot girls, and he was trying to act like the suave dude who's a dope. Yeah. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was that great of a joke. And I thought, you probably if it's in standards and practices, you probably say no in this day and age. And I understand people getting mad about, but I was just like, I don't know if the level of outrage I'm reading meets the standard of how bad of a joke it was. So
that's the problem. And I remember because people were on Brian Alvarez because he missed it when he was doing his recap, and he just completely missed it. So then while he was doing Wrestling Observer Live, he watched the thing and then said for VB, asked him, like, what's your reaction? He's like, it was stupid. Like, it's just a dumb joke. Like, I mean,
the Gen X people just go, it's a dumb line, but the younger kids are just like, this shows WWE's insensitivity to racism.
Because of that, they need to stay away from it.
I agree.
You don't want to open this door to give them more.
Well, you know what? There is an AEW tie-in that I thought, because I don't know if you saw Tony Storm talking about tacos. The double entendre.
You sent it to me. You sent it to me.
I was just like, well, this is kind of the same neighborhood a little bit.
It was worse.
I thought it was worse. Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like, well, that's just her dumb character, and she's doing Hayes Act jokes and stuff like that. And I was just like, no.
I think I have it here.
And I thought the treatment by certain outraged people who are unnamed and have numbers after their name.
I love Lucha Libre. I'm known worldwide as a lucha whore. Last time I had an enchilada, it reappeared in fully form in the toilet. What a funny character.
Yeah.
I'm quoting Drainmaker here. So yeah, that was a little racist.
I agree. But people were willing to forgive Tony because she's a wacky character.
Because she's a wacky character.
And in AEW.
You know what the line was? The Carlito line? It was an R-Truth line.
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly what it was.
No, actually, that's strong.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, it's probably one that he would have made if Vince told him to say it.
Yeah.
And Vince probably would have told him to say it.
Look, no question. I mean, Paul, you and I are of an age where we've lived through a lot worse things. So it's one of those things where we just kind of brush it off. And I understand why people are. I understand why some people are upset. Don't get me wrong. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, some of you all need tougher skins to live.
Curryhead John is absolutely right here. Joke was bad and it was insensitive.
Yes, it's the worst of both worlds. It was a terrible joke, and it was.
I'll steal the Jerry Seinfeld line. I'm not offended by the racism. I'm offended because it was a bad joke.
Yes,
but he also should be offended by the racism. Okay, let's get into this show. Which, as I said, I love this show overall. I will say. I absolutely loved it. I'm not going to say it was one of the best shows of all time or anything like that, because there's a couple things that I'll pick on. But overall, I really, really liked it a lot.
I didn't dislike it. Let's put it that way.
That's strong for you.
Well, no, it's not. It's just one of those things where it's just like last week I was effusive and I was over abundance in praise because I loved a lot of it. And you just go, I hated that show. I went, oh, okay.
Well, I didn't hate it, but I really didn't like it. But luckily I was not here. So you and Kevin got to.
It had a lot of people I liked on the show.
Which you got to do your AEW feels, and everyone was happy with you, and they'll be happy with me hopefully today. Last year, Collision was there almost exactly a year ago, and they did 2,283 in this building, and this week 2,540.
Is this the big arena in Salt Lake City, or is this a college arena?
No, this is a big arena.
Okay, so this is where the Jazz play and the hockey.
They're
team?
doing the
Utah Hockey Club play.
I think so, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
They're doing a 10,000 seat building on Saturday
I saw that
in Council Bluffs, I think.
They're stupid.
And 964 tickets.
God. Well, this is a barn. We'll never fill it.
I'm sure they'll get up to like 1,500 or something, but stuff.
Are you sure about that?
No.
Who's Iowa playing? Iowa and Iowa State?
So one of the Iowa teams is off, and the other one's playing in the afternoon.
Okay, well, maybe then.
But they like to watch their college football at night, too. It doesn't have to be Iowa playing, so I don't know.
World Series.
And the World Series, yeah. So we opened, as we've been opening every show lately, with a Moxley promo. And basically the same promo as Saturday. He hates what AEW has become. He said, you work for me now. They showed a video package of everything they've been doing so far, and they focused on the Elite backing off. So that was a clear, important thing. I want to say why I really like this, because what it did, it was basically the version of like any TV show where you turn on the show and it's like, previously on NCIS, and they show you like a minute. They're basically telling you this is the important angle. here are the things you need to pay attention to that are going to be coming up on this show. They showed Garcia, they showed Private Party, Orange Cassidy, the Elite. It's all the key plot points. They're basically dumbing it down. Like they're saying, like, if you haven't watched Dynamite, this is what you need to pay attention to. I really like that. And they showed Orange Cassidy walking away when Daniel Garcia tried to get him to join their little crew of losers. So tonight on AEW Dynamite, just a little piece of someone will be destroyed forever, and it'll be for their own good. And then they basically showed, as he was talking, they showed Garcia, Orange Cassidy, Darby, Private Party, Dark Order, and Top Flight, and Action Andretti. And then he said, it's for the greater good. It's always for the greater good. I really liked it. I don't know. Your face tells me you didn't.
I don't know. Because I'm thinking about it. Because it's one of those things where it's like, it feels like it's the same promo over and over again, as opposed to adding something to it. Now, it added the intrigue of a piece of somebody is going to die tonight.
Yeah.
My problem is, I think they waited too. I think they waited too long to do it, because everybody, like half that crowd, was tuned out of that 6-man waiting for her.
Oh yes, I just figured out who it was, and at first my thought was, wait a second, they showed us all these people, and the person that it was Chuck Taylor, but no, it was Orange Cassidy.
Well, yes, they went after Orange Cassidy indirectly, and
correct,
that's the whole point. Was it was kind of a swerve, but it wasn't.
It just literally just hit me now. So
okay, oh wow.
Yeah. So that a little.
You're not a writer, I'll forgive you, but yeah, they do that kind of a thing.
And actually, you know what's funny is Deonna Purrazzo cut a promo on Friday's Rampage that nobody saw, and it tied into what happened here, because she said, when you go after somebody, you go after the people close to them.
Yeah.
So that was what Moxley is probably watching Rampage. Yeah, that's a good idea. So we need a name for this crew. They were arguing about it on Collision, I think, or Rampage or something, and the commentators were going back and forth because they don't really have a name. You could call them the Moxley Combat Club. Moxley's Crew is popular. I got a different one, and I'm gonna see if it'll stick. Call them the Death Riders.
All right.
Yeah, so
I'm fine with that.
So we go to the parking lot, and it's bright light out. So it's Mark Briscoe, Daniel Garcia, Private Party, Satnam Singh, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Karen Jarrett, probably some more people.
These dorks stood in a parking lot for 2 hours and didn't cover all the exits.
Even better. Okay, forget about that. Tony Khan flew them to Salt Lake City. Not a cheap flight.
No. So
they could stand in the parking lot and wait for Jon Moxley for 2 hours. But anyways, yeah, so they're waiting for the Death Riders. See how I just kind of snuck that in there like it's natural parlance?
You don't mention that, dummy.
I know.
Just keep going.
All right. So they showed more highlights from the main event from last week. And they showed, all the stuff that went on that we talked about earlier with Hangman and Jay White, Christian Cage. And Tony Schiavone's in the ring, and he calls out Hangman. And here's where I noticed that Matt Menard was on commentary. So I don't know what happened to Nigel, but Matt, normally I don't like Matt menard, but he was fine here. I think he was a little intimidated because they were on Dynamite, and plus Excalibur talks more than Schiavone or anybody else that he usually does it with. So we got him in lesser doses, and he was fine tonight, I thought. But Schiavone says, you lost to Jay White at Wrestle Dream, and last week you caused him to lose to Christian Cage. Where's your mind at? And he grabs the mic, and Tony Schiavone backed off. And he said, last week I took Jay White's head off. Before that, I nearly took Juice Robinson's life. A few weeks ago, I knocked out Austin Gunn so bad that he doubted he even remembers his own brother's name. And before he can even get that sentence out, he gets attacked by Colton Gunn. And the Colton's running wild on him, but then he misses a dive, went into a barricade. Hangman took over, beat the shit out of him. And somewhere in here, I think it was during the dive, Hangman landed badly or something, and he was limping. And I thought
it was sure just selling.
I hope it was just selling. And if it was good. But
because he was so far out of the way on this Colton dive over the top that I just thought that's preposterous. But then he started selling his leg.
I hope he was just selling. That's all
I'll say.
So. I guess we'll find out. But so he took his belt off. He's going to start to whip him, I wrote. But then no, he was going to choke him. And then Jay White made the save.
He's the hangman, not the whip man.
Oh, good point. I didn't even think of that. So he comes out with Juice Robinson, and Jay White took him down. Hangman bailed, and he was favoring his knee heavily. And Jay White grabs a mic, and he says, "Where are you going? I'm right here. I'm right where you want me." And he says, "You can hobble away, but you can't hide. I know how much your leg hurts. I'm always going to have your number. I'm 4-1 against you, and if it wasn't for Christian saving you, I'd be 5-0. The banner reads All Elite Wrestling, and you can cover up your shortcomings, but it won't change the fact that when the bell rings, you can't measure up to the Switchblade. But I know I haven't seen the last of you, and that's perfect. You haven't seen the last of me either, so ice your little leg up, and we'll see you real soon. Guns up." And they didn't announce a date, so I assume it's probably going to be Full Gear for this, which...
I would assume this, but Kevin and I went over something last week I want to put onto you.
Okay.
It is still somewhat, and this is partly presentation fault, but it's also partly gimmick fault. Jay White still comes off as a heel to me.
A little bit.
The spooky music, the name Switchblade. It's one of those things where you're just I don't need him to go full Juice, mind you. But he's the dark cloud to the silver lining. And it's so weird because like the Guns can play babyface or heel pretty well. They can go back and forth. They can play, wild babyface.
Colton tonight was, yes.
Juice has no problem doing it.
Yeah.
I don't believe Jay.
You know who he reminds me of here? And you're old school enough that you may remember it, but you also may not have seen it. He reminds me of when Nick Bockwinkel turned babyface to feud with Kurt Hennig.
Okay.
In AWA.
Yeah.
Whereas like,
he had been a heel for so long.
Yeah. And his style and his speaking, his everything was screamed heel. Yeah. But he's in the babyface role. So yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that. And I've often made the comparison between Jay White and Nick Bockwinkel in terms of their pacing and the way they wrestle and stuff like that. Like obviously Jay White, he does like all kinds of spectacular moves and everything but in comparing in the eras, like
okay, Jay White's not nearly the promo Nick Bockwinkel was either.
He's pretty good, but
he's fine, but he's not. Yeah. Nick Bockwinkel is
no
promo.
No. He, you're talking my language. I mean, I grew up in AWA territory. I get what
put Curryhead's comment up. This last one.
This one. He says, "Okay, Jeff. Here's what contradict you if that's the case. And what about Adam Cole? You can't say the same about him that you were saying about Jay White." Well, I do say the same thing about Adam Cole that I say about Jay White. Yeah. So Adam Cole has one promo in him, and that's it. And honestly, it's worse.
Yeah. Adam Cole is a good wrestler that how do I put this? I'm not going to say he's overpraised, but he is elevated to a level that I don't think he reaches in terms of charisma, in terms of his promos and his ability to carry an angle. But I agree with you. It's a lot like a Jay White problem. And the other problem is Adam Cole turns so much that nobody ever gets in line with the big baby facing because they're just waiting. Because when he becomes a baby face, it's somewhat insincere. He has a little bit of natural jerk in him.
The problem is he's more likable as a heel and he's more hateable as a baby face.
Yes.
Yeah. A little bit.
You nailed it. You nailed it. It's one of those things where it's just like, he's not exactly the smiling, happy, high five fans type. Yeah, because you don't believe it. You're just waiting for the next turn. It's a little Paul Orndorffy in a way.
Yeah. So we got a video package for Sammy Guevara and Shelton Benjamin, and this also aired on the weekend, but it was good, so I was totally fine with them airing it here.
Yeah. So
Sammy mentioned he's been here for 5 years. His life changed by coming here. They show pictures of him with his wife and his kid. They showed a picture from back when Sammy looked like he was about 8 years old, getting an autograph from Shelton. And he said, the best way to repay AEW is to make sure you get a moment you've never seen before. My goal is the same. The way I realize my destiny is by going up against the best. And one of the best just had a hell of a debut. And they showed highlights of him beating Leo Rush last week. And MVP took over and he said, there's a motive. Shelton says we're here to crack heads and make money. We're all about that business. MVP calls him the merchant of misery. Shelton is gifted at hurting people. When you're good at something, you never do it for free. Our agenda is that we're taking over. Says to trust the process. We've done it before and we'll do it again. So I hope Moxley didn't see this promo. Or
okay. Let me go the two halves of this. Number one, Sammy. I think Sammy can be redeemed. I just think this wasn't the week to do this match. I think he needed this kind of promo. He needed to apologize for his previous actions. Goes, I know what I'm doing now. I'm on the right path. Get about 3 or 4 wins and then challenge Shelton.
Being a father changed me.
Yes, something. Like but I mean, he has the I've been turned too much problem, but he has a straight ahead babyface in him. It can sometimes get overwhelmed by his cockiness. Yeah. And the high flyer lends itself to it.
Yeah.
The MVP promo, man, I was pumping my fist until he said the line, "We're taking over." And I just went, there's that dumbass WWE trope again where all heels. And it runs directly into the Moxley thing. Yes. And somebody wrote me and goes, well, maybe this is a way they're doing gang warfare and they're building everybody up to it. I go, that's fine, but he's never going to actually take over.
And I mean, we're never going to see Moxley against Lashley. I don't think. I shouldn't say never.
We might, but it's so far off that dropping this little hint isn't the breadcrumb people think it is.
And was it a hint or was it just something he thought of?
It's one of those things where people will go, hey, that was long-term storytelling if they get around to it in 4 years. Yeah. One of those things. So to me, I mean, this promo was so fantastic.
It was.
Until he said that line. I was just like, no, don't do.
And the thing is, like, I was already in my head thinking, okay, why isn't Moxley interacting with, these different people? And then you have MVP just has to say, we're taking over. So, but regardless of that, it was a good promo.
What the interesting thing is, someone needs to call out Moxley as a coward for picking on guys who are of lower status than him.
Well,
that's when it becomes a main event angle to me.
That's when probably, okay, this is my prediction. The Hurt Syndicate sooner than later is going to turn babyface, and they're going to be like, okay, you've been picking on these guys, step up to us now.
No, because the Elite are turning babyface.
Wow. I just can't see Matt and Nick cutting that promo, but
unless they get murder death,
and
bring back Omega as their heater.
So on the plus, this was a good promo to get you excited for a match.
On the plus, they're still doing the right thing with MVP because throughout the night, MVP and the Ricochet back and forth was perfect too.
If you're black, you're getting paid because my MVP's handing out these cards to every brother in the building. Like, there's no question.
You did not just say every brother in the building.
Yes,
you did not just say that, you Caucasian mother.
I'm not Caucasian, to be fair. I'm a half breed, but half native.
Thank you, Cher. Okay,
that's like my anthem. That song. I'm not even joking. But no. Literally, like if you're, Ricochet. As soon as he showed up, it's
but that's also true. He is exclusive to Minority Outreach. Yes.
I want to see him. Like, I was wondering, was he going to offer Sammy a card? No. But here's the other thing. Okay. So we get this match, and I think when this match was announced, okay, my very first reaction was, okay, 50-year-old Shelton Benjamin's beating up all the young guys. Great. But I'm over that.
Yeah,
you got
railed about that last week.
They signed Shelton. They signed him. They're investing money into him. They're pushing him. They're doing everything right with Shelton Benjamin. He's getting over. Last week they had this match with Lio Rush. So I read the comments about the match before I actually watched the match, and everyone was raving about Shelton, how awesome he was, how great he looked, everything like that. I've been watching Shelton Benjamin on Main Event for the last 5 years. This was the exact same Shelton Benjamin last week that I saw every week on Main Event. He's a very good wrestler.
Yeah, we gave flowers to Leo too.
Almost always has the best match on the card. Lio Rush was the guy that was amazing last week.
Yeah.
He was bumping around like a pinball machine. He made this guy look like $1 million.
Yes.
They went through a commercial break. They had a competitive match. They had great near falls.
It was my favorite match, I think, of last week.
This match was good last week. Tonight, he destroyed Sammy Guevara. Like this is almost what he should have done to Lio Rush last week in a way. And Sammy got a couple nice spots in there, and a couple hope.
You knew he was going to do this spot because he's done it before. The Shelton spot into the super kick,
but he didn't get to do his "I'm crazy," he didn't get to do that. He didn't get to do his Spanish fly. Shelton just destroyed
I'm fine with that too. If they can,
totally fine
because we can reboot Sammy now if we wanted to. If we're really serious about, I don't think they're serious about it though.
No, I
think Sammy's burned so many bridges being there that he is Dustin Rhodes' tag partner over on ROH. That's what he is.
Oh, and they're losing those belts to Brian Cage and Lance Archer forthwith. I'm telling you, that's my prediction. Before
I appreciate the usage of the term forthwith.
Before Christmas and probably long before Christmas.
Yes,
Lance Archer and
yes. That's the no-brainer of no-brainers, but yes.
Yeah. What do we call them? Murder Cage? I don't know.
I don't know, but don't steal my thunder. Keep going.
Oh, okay. So anyways, so they had this match, and it was just a destructive. So in this match, Shelton looked great. This was a different Shelton Benjamin than I saw in main event the last 5 years. I think he's getting into shape. Well, he's always in shape. Don't get me wrong.
But it's the approach, and it's also MVP yelling at him to not give a good match, to just destroy the guy.
What did he tell them? Stop playing with your food.
Playing with your food.
Oh my God.
It was so fantastic. Yeah.
And and then that was right before Sammy dove off the rope. Shelton hit him with a super kick, hit a running double knee in the corner, and then finished him with the exploder. He didn't even hit that running superplex thing off the top rope that he likes to do. This was
that's a babyface move too. You don't want to do.
Yeah,
you don't want
and he did it last week,
that.
but he didn't do it this week. Yeah. So this was great. He was clearly dominant, and sets up for the match they're gonna have next week. Shelton and Swerve and Swerve. Shelton will lose that one, but that's to set up the return of Lashley. So. Or maybe he won't lose. Maybe it'll be a no contest. Probably a no contest, actually, if they're smart. You have Lashley come in and interfere, and and then Shelton doesn't have to lose. I don't know.
If we're gonna introduce him, yeah.
Remarkable Renee Paquette is waiting for a word with Mariah May, and Mariah May comes out with her bag, and she looks like she's gonna leave. And Renee's like, "Why are you leaving?" And she says, "I'm not. This ain't my stuff." And she tossed the bag across the hallway. Stuff's flying out of it. And she said, "That's not my bag. It's Anna Jay's. Anna Jay doesn't belong in the ring or in my locker room." And before she can get that out, she gets attacked by Anna Jay. And Chris Daniels breaks it up. And he reminds them that they have a match in 2 weeks on Collision. So God bless you. Hallelujah. We're promoting stuff for the future. Love it. Yeah, Philadelphia. I think it's November 2nd or something.
Oh, are we getting hardcore Anna Jay?
Hey, I didn't even think of that, but probably, yeah, that'd be awesome. She's not gonna win, but
no, but I'm here for a return
Mariah
of deathmatch Anna Jay.
She beat Mariah May in the main event of Battle of Belts in front of 195,000 curious onlookers on TV. But it was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting it. So
yeah, it was good.
Yeah, we got a great video package for Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. So this answered a bunch of questions that I had, 2 months ago, but they answered them here and basically just explained the friendship that they've had over the years. And Will said he needed someone to look after him. They showed highlights from Rev Pro and AEW, talked about how they have a genuine friendship, and they didn't. Will was kind of narrating this, but he just kind of talking about their friendship, and that led into Tony Schiavone in the ring, and he calls out.
It should have been Don narrating this video, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's fine because we get Kyle Fletcher and Don Callis. So Don Callis grabs the mic, and he's got his usual amount of heat. And I'm like, okay, here we go. We're going to get this long Don Callis promo. I got my fingers ready. And he says, Kyle Fletcher has something important to say. That's literally all he said. And he hands over the mic to Kyle Fletcher, and this guy.
Okay, before you gush on this promo, my fear was because of the bit last week where he went, "You know why I did it? I'm not gonna tell you." Leave. I thought Don was gonna go, "Kyle has something to tell you," and Kyle was gonna go, "You want to know why I turned on Will Ospreay? I'm not gonna tell." I thought they were gonna do that bit 2 weeks in a row, and I was getting ready to be angry. But now you may go. They did not.
Before I do, Did you watch the Kyle Fletcher Atlantis match from Collision?
Yes.
Okay. I assume you watched it on TV.
I either watched it on TV or my phone. Yes.
Okay, but you wouldn't
as opposed to what? Virtual reality? I don't own the goggles.
No, I watched it on Triller.
Okay.
And I got the commercial stuff.
Okay.
He was working the crowd during the commercial like you wouldn't believe. It's some of the best heel stuff I've seen. He was incredible in this match. And when they came back from commercial, I often talk about how they come back from the commercial, the crowd's dead. This crowd wanted to see him murdered by the time they came back from break. He was so good. And by good, I mean bad.
There's a line in this promo tonight that just made me giggle with glee. And I don't know if you'll know what it is, but go ahead.
All right. So he says, "You people can boo me all you want. The only person I'm here to talk to is Will Ospreay."
Okay, let's boo him. Boo!
Yeah. "It's been 11 days, Will, since I cost you your international championship. You've been laid up in a hospital bed with numbness and tingling because of that herniated disc you won't tell anybody about. And he said, this whole time you've been wondering, why, Kyle, why? And oh boy, does that make me happy. What these idiots don't realize, they're just as much to blame as you are. You see, when I got to AEW, they said I was the next big thing. Brightest future in pro wrestling." Fans are chanting for Ospreay here. Kyle smirked. And he says, "And then you got here, Will. And instead of being the next big thing, they called me the next Will Ospreay. They said I looked like you, wrestled like you. These inbred Americans even said I sounded like you. I took every one of these comparisons as an insult. I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you. And I'm better than you at every single way." He says, "Maybe there was a time I'd have liked these comparisons back in 2021 when I joined the United Empire. You were the assassin, the kingpin. You had a killer instinct." Fans start chanting, "Wrap it up." And he says, nah. This man has bought me all the TV time I want, so you'll have to listen to me."
Oh, says, I love this line.
Oh, yeah.
It's my favorite trope from the 80s is Arn Anderson coming out to either David Crockett or Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone, I know that television time on this network is expensive, so allow me to spend some money and
they do this on ROH. Whenever Premier Athletes do a promo,
that's right.
Mark Sterling has to buy the time. So,
but I love that he kind of ad-libbed this, and it was like, there we go. I love that.
He's got such great instincts. So he says, this man's bought me all the TV time I want, so you have to listen to me. And he says, "You want to know why I left New Japan and came to AEW, Will? Let's talk about what happened between you and Okada. He brought you into New Japan when you were young. He became your mentor and you stabbed him in the back. And then what happened between you and Kenny Omega? He left New Japan and you stepped up. But instead of being praised, they said you would never fill Kenny's shoes. So what'd you do? You used the exact same screwdriver that I did on him, and then you dropped him on his neck with the Tiger Driver. You see it a pattern, Will? The reason I left was because I saw the writing on the wall and the way to get out of your shadow. And that's a lesson you taught me. You never wanted me to achieve my full potential. You never wanted me to surpass you because that's the kind of person Will Ospreay is. Selfish. I'll give you one chance, Will. One chance to save face with these people." They're chanting, "Shut the fuck up." And he just stopped his promo and he let it sink in. It was so good. And he waited the perfect amount of time, and then he goes on. He says, "You will face me in this ring next week. You'll ignore the doctor's orders. You're going to ignore Al and Harry begging you to stay home. I don't know who they are, but I don't care. To prove to these people that you give a damn about them, I'm going to send you to that hospital for a lot longer than 11 days and I'm going to beat you until your brittle neck turns to dust. I'll stand over your carcass as the one and only protostar, Kyle Fletcher. And if I want to stand on top of this company and take it to new heights, I can be nothing like you." And then Callis hands him a razor. And I'm like, what are they going to do with this razor?
Oh, I was cheering. From
this
so hard
forward, Will, I am nothing like you.
Yes.
And he starts shaving his head.
Cut that terrible haircut off.
Oh my God.
Hell yes.
Matt says it's a hair challenge.
Look, I want to address this. As a hair challenged American, seeing someone with a full head of hair buzzed off was extremely offensive. But Matthew, let me explain to you, as someone who was starting to lose their hair and then bleached it and it got fried for many a week and whatever. This is the best thing for him. He was killing his hair, has now a chance to regrow and get healthy again. And also he looked stupid with his haircut. I'm sorry. He looked like he didn't care about himself with his haircut. This haircut was the worst thing about him. And
and now he's gonna look like a tall, jacked up Daniel Garcia.
Or a tall, jacked up Lance Storm. I am here for it. If he's taking it seriously, and look, if he gets serious, I'm cool with that too. But no, I hated everything about this hairstyle when he changed to this just 1 week, and we went, what is he doing?
Hot take. I think I just watched a future world champion right here. This guy.
I thought the one that when he came out when he was filling in for Ospreay and cut that promo on was it
the babyface one?
Yes, the babyface one. I thought that one was a little bit better, but this one was really good. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't need to go back with Mark Davis.
The material in that one might have been better, but I loved his presence here. And it's not easy to get people to boo you.
He was playing Psychotic really well too. Where he just kept repeating the same line over and over again. Yeah.
But not for 1 second. Not 1 second did I think he was remembering a script. Not for 1 second.
No, the acting was really good.
Yeah.
For wrestling acting, yes.
Yeah. And the guy's only 25.
He was believable. And that's all you really want in a wrestling promo is do I believe him?
Yeah. So this John said, I agree. Best thing on the show. Best thing on the show in a while. One of the best promos of the year, I thought, in AEW for sure, and maybe even in all wrestling. I'm probably forgetting some, but this was
I won't go that far, but I liked it.
We got a video package from the weekend, and it was Takeshita making his first title defense. I believe it was against Josh Alexander at Maple Leaf Pro, and Ricochet did a run-in. Now, Ricochet had done a promo last week saying he's going to follow Takeshita around the world, and he even said, whether you're in Canada or wherever, and he showed up in Canada. So I was like, hey.
Isn't Josh Alexander a heel in TNA?
Yes, he is. Well, he is in TNA, but I guess he's not Maple Leaf Pro.
He's a babyface in Maple Leaf Pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is weird. And I heard that their crowd reaction to the Bayley match was a lot better than the one to the Alexander match, and that's probably the reason, because these fans that were at this show probably watched TNA and they probably know he's a heel, and he spends his whole time telling the fans how much they suck. And
I will probably find a way to watch these shows. I'm a Mauro Ranallo fan. I know a lot of people aren't. I get people get upset with the.
I'll send you my login. I have Triller Plus, so I can send you my.
I just want to watch, and I'm a big Mike Bailey fan. I think Mike Bailey should have been in this company a long time ago.
Mike Bailey's great. I love him.
He was one of my favorite things about PWG, and it broke my heart when he got busted going across the border back and forth without a visa.
Yeah, 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Renee with Ricochet, and she asked him what would happen this weekend. He said, I'm a man of my word, told him I'd show up anywhere, and that's what I did. He never pinned me to become champion, but he screwed me twice out of that belt. So I'm calling you or anyone else out here. I'll be at Rampage, and I'll be in a bad mood. So show up. And he said, and you need to remember, I'm not from here. I'm from out of this world. He can drop that catchphrase anytime. MVP shows up, tried to recruit him because he's black, and he complimented him on his suit. So that's it. That's literally my notes.
Well, okay.
And he was considering it. He was considering it.
It goes a little deeper than that, because this was they did some subtle thing. They didn't do like last week when they did this with MVP and Shelton. There's a little bit too much scenery chewing from Shelton. So it's very subtle, where Shelton just gives him kind of a look and leaves. Yeah, Ricochet kind of does his. I'm gonna take my moment here and look vexed and thinking about it, kind of a thing. It was
this
fine.
Exact scene on Raw about 3 years ago.
They did. And in a world with Will Ospreay, I find the prospect of a heel Ricochet interesting. The problem is he's also in the same world as Leo Rush, who would make a far better heel than Ricochet would in every thing. But I like that this is an ongoing story with MVP as well, where I'm just trying to drum up business, my friend.
Yeah,
and just keeps on going. I would actually keep this going for a few weeks and then shock everybody with who joins. Kind of a thing where it's just like you don't know who's going to join, but a lot of people are thinking about it, type of a thing.
Yeah, like I think a lot of people think Max Caster is going to join, although he got himself in some trouble this week, and we may not see him. Did you see that?
I know what it is, and I don't want to.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it. No, we don't need to talk about it. Paul, what can you tell us what the Hurt Business was like in WWE? What were their angles? Were they good? Lots of comedy? Was it COVID era, no crowd only? Yes, it was COVID era, no crowd only. The angles were great. They basically
it was
black excellence.
Yes, it was a black excellence. It was a black horseman.
Yeah,
and it lasted 2 weeks before they broke them all up. It pissed me off so bad because this was something. They had something. It
was a little more than 2 weeks, but it wasn't
after they got all the belts. It was 2 weeks. Before they started breaking them up, and I'm just like, what are you doing? This is the horseman that you've always wanted, and they couldn't.
Because Lashley had the world title, and it was Benjamin, and who else had the tag belts?
Cedric Alexander.
Cedric, yeah, right, yeah. Cedric and Shelton got the tag belts, and then
they immediately started the Cedric and Shelton are having problems in this, and you're just like, no.
And they were teasing Ricochet back then of joining. Yeah,
they were teasing Ricochet, and they were also teasing Montez.
Yeah,
who would have been perfect. I've been waiting for the Montez Ford single heel run for a long time, and I've never gotten it.
And then they just kind of got shut out, and then
they didn't get shut out; they got buried.
Yeah,
because Vince didn't want this angle. I'm sorry. It was because they wanted to push Bobby Lashley as the big jacked up dude, and whenever there's a stable or a faction like this, because he doesn't like the term stable, there has to be one star and everybody else are geeks. So it became infighting between Cedric and Shelton. It ruined it. It ruined a lot of parts of Raw, because then it became Bobby getting involved with these two, eventually picking a side, etc. It was stupid, and they had a money act. They should have also had possibly Sasha join this one, because I think they had someone with Sasha and MVP at one time too.
I would be more than happy with Sasha joining. I'd love to see Leo Rush in there.
Yes.
He's got a history with Bobby Lashley too. He was his manager, and he was great.
As I said last week, Leo Rush is the perfect high flying heel, because he's so cocky and so arrogant and so good. And he's a perfect fit to a stable where you have big jacked up dudes like MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley. I love it. But everybody will go, he's the job guy. It's like, guys, no, he doesn't have to be necessarily. You just have them win a lot.
So next up, we had Brian Cage and Lance Archer versus
Hold on.
two
Did we
dudes.
miss a segment somewhere in here? Or was the orange? When did Chuck Taylor come out to the parking lot?
Next one.
Okay, cool. Next one. Thank you.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. This Cage and Archer against two dudes who look like the Gates of Agony, who are the former champion. And then I looked it up. Their names are actually the Pillars of Destiny. So they're basically the Wish version of the Gates of Agony.
Okay, let's stop here before you get to the match.
I don't have anything written about the match.
Okay, cool. These two should have come out together as a team, matching gear, with Don Callis with them, and they should have had a team name. Day one. We don't need both themes for any reason. Pick one of the themes. Do Everybody Dies. I don't care.
Do a mashup. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, God,
what's Brian Cage's nickname? Somebody help me out. Does anybody know?
Swolverine.
So
Mr. Get Your S in.
Murder Swole. Like, you gotta have murder in the title or something.
Whatever you want. Just
okay, but here's the thing. How did Callis get these guys?
He bought them.
From who?
Jake Roberts. He bought Murder Hawk from Jake Roberts.
Okay, what about Cage?
He was just around because Tully Blanchard Enterprises and
what about the Gates of Agony?
Well, the Gates of Agony and Cage were free agents after turning on Nana.
This is an ironic comment I just.
Yes, I get that. No, but you don't need to do you don't need to do what is it? Show off or whatever. You don't need to do lame ass mashups of two guys' nicknames. Think of a name.
Call them Murder Death.
The Colossal Express. Call them Murder Incorporated, and then get the Bruce.
Here we go. Call them MDC. Murder Death Connection.
Yes, that's cool too. That's a very good All Japan type name.
Yeah. So anyways, they hit the powerbomb chokeslam combo for the win from Archer. These two dudes that they beat are
this would not be my choice for their first match either.
No, they should have.
I want the guys that they got for the House of Black.
Yes. Or this wasn't their first match. Or I don't know if the other one was on Ring of Honor, but I saw them beat, and this was the perfect team. It was Jack Cartwheel and John Cruz.
Yes. That's the perfect geek team right there.
Well, that was
although I like Jack Cartwheel a lot. I do.
Yeah, well, they were geeks. So yeah, this was
John Cruz is a perfect geek.
Yeah, this was just a destruction, and I predict they are beating Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes for the ROH Tag Team titles.
I like that prediction. Yes.
Yeah.
And I also predict that Don Callis will be nowhere near that because it's a Ring of Honor show.
Yes. Well, unless they do it on like Collision or something.
Yeah.
But we go back outside, and it's still light out, and the jobbers are all still out there waiting for Mox, waiting for the Death Riders, and who should come out but Chuck Taylor? And he's got a clipboard and a headset and a black AEW shirt, so I guess he works there. And he tells Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly, "Oh, you guys got to go. Mark Briscoe's match is up next." And I guess Rocky Romero must have left with them too.
Yes.
And then he stops and he talks to Orange and he says, "I've known you for 20 years. When AEW came around, they got us both the job." He says, "I know you see what they're doing. I don't know if these guys can beat them." He points at the goofballs in the parking lot, "But you have, and it's time you stepped up, man." And he walked him into the building. Now keep this in mind. He pulled Orange Cassidy away from these baby faces to go into the building because Mark Briscoe has a match coming up. Right?
Yes.
Kyle O'Reilly left with them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see Rocky Romero leave, but I assume he did as well because he was out there at the beginning, and we did see him later. He came out during the Briscoe match. But Orange Cassidy,
are you trying to tell me that you think Kyle O'Reilly is in on this?
No.
Okay.
Although that's possible. But I'm trying to tell you that Orange Cassidy was brought out to be out there for Mark Briscoe's match. And when we had Brian Keith run in, Rocky Romero came out and stopped him.
Yes.
When we had Big Bill run in, nobody came out to stop Big Bill.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
So either Orange Cassidy is scared of Big Bill or there's a plot hole.
There's a plot hole, and this also had weak writing / improv note Jeff come out and play.
Okay, in this segment?
Yes.
Okay, well, fill your boots.
Here we go. If you have two friends who have been friends for a long time, you don't need to say, "I've known you for 20 years." You know that you've known each other for 20 years, and you have a specific kind of shorthand and ways to talk to each other. And if you write those well, or if you deliver those lines well, it can be established throughout saying it. The fear is you think the audience is dumb. So you put too much exposition in there, and they come off as inauthentic. And that's what happened here, where all Chuck had to do was go, "Hey, what's wrong with you? You're better than this," or whatever. Kind of a thing. And, he's the one guy who can talk to him like this because they have been friends for 20 years.
You can have Excalibur point out that they've been friends for 20 years.
This is the as I like to put it when I coach actors and stuff, this is the "as your father" problem.
Yeah.
As your father, I'm blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, you're telling him what you are, but he should know that you're his father if you're really his father, kind of a thing. Yeah. It's a weak writer crutch. It happens all the time because you look at something on the page and it looks like it makes sense. It looks like it's deep, and you do it in actual reality and it looks bad because it's like, no, people don't talk to each other that way. It's like my problem is always I put "well" as the first word for a lot of characters. "Well, I did," that kind of a thing. And then you watch it get like shot or something. You're like, oh, that's a writer error on my part. That's a crutch I do type of a thing. This is a crutch a lot of writers do, is they put exposition in there that's not necessary to let the audience know that characters care about each other or something like that, when you should know that they care about each other because of how they treat each other.
You know what my least favorite exposition is, and I don't see it as much anymore, thank God.
Last week I did this. This week.
No. My guest at this time.
Yes.
It's like 5 words that you didn't need to say.
Yes.
So yeah.
No, that's perfect. I am here for the economy of words type of a thing.
Yeah. So this leads into, as Chuck Taylor let us know, Mark Briscoe's match, which was Mark Briscoe against Chris Jericho in a ladder wars match. Now, this was another issue I had last week because I could not figure out. I heard about the ladder match because they mentioned it in the main event that I watched. And I was like, wait a minute. How did you go from Mark Briscoe beating him clean on the pay-per-view to a ladder match next week? And how we got there was Chris Jericho saying his brother's name. So, okay.
Understandable.
Yeah. So we got this match, and this was wild. I mean, Chris Jericho is taking bumps no 54-year-old man should be taking, no 34-year-old man should be taking, let alone that. Briscoe was right there with him, bumping around like a maniac. He's bleeding like crazy, wearing a Jay Briscoe shirt. Every time Jericho went to climb, he was hesitant, but he was going for that belt. So I like that part of it. Whereas Briscoe was more interested in hurting Jericho, and that ended up playing into the
commentary
finish.
Actually did a good job of relaying that Mark Briscoe had been the 9 ladder wars. He had won 4, or been in 4 and won 3. And then they kind of alluded, because Jericho has a very interesting history with ladder matches, as he is supposedly the creator of Money in the Bank.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. So I thought they did a nice job on that too. I just you want to go through the match and then I'll tell you my thoughts. Sorry.
Okay, no. So I mentioned earlier they did the spot where are we here? I'm just looking at my notes. Where so he put Jericho on the table. He climbed up the ladder, and he's nowhere near the belt. And the announcers pointed that out. Like, he's high enough where he could grab the belt, but he's nowhere near the belt, and he's just up there to hurt Jericho. And then Brian Keith shows up, and he climbs up the ladder. And before he can get too far up there, Rocky Romero shows up, hits him with a kendo stick, knocks him out of the ring. So they brawl to the back, and then we're left with Mark Briscoe. He climbs right to the top of this ladder, stands on the top rung. He's literally like 20 feet in the air, and he dove off the top and put Jericho through a table. And the back of Jericho's head hit a ladder. He does the froggy bow. So Mark Briscoe just springs right up, and he says, "I'm not done with you yet." Gives him a J driller. And so Jericho's dead. He's dead in the middle of the ring. And Briscoe pulls out a ladder, pulls it over, starts climbing up, gets about 3/4 of the way up, and out comes Big Bill. And he picked him up, choke slammed him outside the ring through 2 tables. And Jericho's still dead. And Big Bill's trying to wake him up. And then Bill realizes, this guy's not getting up. So he just picks him up, puts him on his shoulders, climbed up the ladder. And when they got to the top, Jericho grabbed the belt and he won. And I kind of like the finish. I'm not a big fan of Jericho winning this belt. My assumption is that Tony's trying to shop this around for a TV deal, and he thinks Jericho having the belt is going to get him that TV deal. I don't know about that. Or, they're just doing it for heat, and somebody's going to win the belt at Final Battle.
I loathe there's no DQ in a ladder match, which means everybody can run in type crap. I'm just like, this is a blood feud where he's invoking his dead brother's name. Let them settle it. Once was fine, I guess. It was just like, oh, now it's going to be an overbooked mess with everybody coming in. I agree. I don't see the point of Jericho holding this title, even if it is for trying to get a TV deal for Ring of Honor, which they don't need. He's
the Nueva now.
Oh, that's just it. It's to me, it's for a new shirt.
Yeah. And probably because Briscoe's had the belt long enough, but I mean,
so I was just disappointed because I thought Chris Jericho was going to be the one taking
as someone who pays for the Ring of Honor streaming service, who watches the show every week.
You could have just said as a historian.
As a historian,
thank you.
But in this case, it's more about buying the streaming service and watching the show every week. Basically telling me that everything I'm watching on Ring of Honor is meaningless because those guys are winning matches and they're nowhere near this title. And Jericho just won it. And he's not facing any of these dudes that, you see pull up the last Ring of Honor show and look who got wins. None of them are facing Jericho anytime, probably ever. So, that's that. But I like the match. I thought the finish was creative.
I mean, this it was fine, and it'll probably just start to be the Big Bill Chris Jericho split type of thing.
But I am curious. Yeah, maybe it's gonna be Big Bill winning the belt. I am curious why Orange Cassidy didn't come out and save Briscoe when they made a point of having Chuck Taylor go out and grab him. If they hadn't have done that, I wouldn't even have thought for a second of where's Orange Cassidy. But they actually made a point of bringing him into the building because Mark Briscoe's match is next. So if they did that, why did they do that? They could have done that segment after this. You know what I mean? Like that to me, that was just a little problem. And I don't want to focus too much on it because I really love this show, but that was a plot hole.
Well, there's another plot hole as well that
Kyle O'Reilly or something else.
No, something else.
Okay, all right. So She's music hits, and I'm like, what? I just watched this dude on a New Japan show like this morning, but then I realized
guest wrestler.
Yeah, but he was wrestling on a New Japan show, but then I realized, oh yeah, that show was from Monday, so it was 2 days ago. And he shows up, so I guess he's going to be challenging Chris Jericho, and he never wins, so he won't be winning that. Then they aired a video package for Kamille and Stat, and good Lord, this video package was great.
Yeah.
This was like something you would do for like a couple of Olympians or something. Like they just said, this is to make
this was a UFC. This was a UFC type of video package to me.
And it was basically promoting it to see who the biggest, fastest, and scariest woman in AEW is. It was beautiful. And the match is next week. They set it up last week. It's perfect. It was like 30 seconds. It was great. I loved it. And that brings out Adam Cole. And he says, who's ready for story time with Adam?
Oh God,
the timing there was
gimmick.
good.
No, the timing was quite good. I just hate this gimmick, and I hate the Kingdom. But okay.
So the crowd boos, and Roddy says, "Hey, listen, I know you had to get some stuff off your chest about Max. We all know who he really is. He's an egomaniac and a user. He used the Adam Cole brand to get over something he never had his entire career." I love this because he's talking about himself.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful. And he says something that he's never had in his career, and that was to get the fans to actually care about him. And the fact that he didn't check in on you once while you were injured, guess who did? We did. And then Adam says, look, in Max's, or no, this was Mike Bennett. He says, Adam, look, in Max's egotistical brain, he thinks that this group was formed because of him. Our group was way bigger than Max. We started together, and we're going to finish this together. And then Matt Taven says, a year ago, when you told us about this, we said yes before you even finished your sentence. This was never about Max. It was about this. Some of my favorite moments in my life are moments that we all shared together. And Roddy says, I'm so proud of you, Adam.
Like what?
They won the ROH tag team titles.
Okay.
Yeah. They hung out with Wardlow. I don't know. Roddy says, I'm so proud of you, Adam, because you worked your ass off this past year to come back from that serious ankle injury. And more importantly, I'm more proud of you to finish what we started, to take Max out together. And as your best friend, I need you to know this. I want Max first. And Adam says, Roddy, you're damn right. We're going to finish what we started, and we should finish it tonight. So, Max, how about you come on down here and take turns? We'll take turns giving you an undisputed ass whooping. So he calls these guys out, 4 baby faces challenging 1 heel. And then he turned his back. And that, of course, Max isn't there. He's on the screen getting a massage from someone who is not Alicia Toot. And he says, wow, Cole, I'm so shocked you wanted your hands on me.
Oh, God.
You like that?
Yeah.
Who knew? Greed is a bottomless pit, satisfying the need without ever reaching it. And I'm telling you, you're never going to get your hands on me. Unlike Natalia here. Cole, you or your trailer park trash pal wins 3 matches in a row. I'll give you a match at Full Gear, but I'm not going to show up in person until Full Gear. And I hope you get the happy ending you're looking for, because the Lord knows I will. And that was that. And yeah, so either
I enjoyed the callback to the NXT Roddy Cole Roderick Strong story about the trailer.
I did, John.
Yeah. God, everybody can see where this story is going, right?
I'm not sure. I think they're trying.
I think the Kingdom screw Adam Cole after that match, and then Roddy loses MJF after.
I think. Well, yeah, maybe the third match is the two of them against each other.
Something like that too.
Yeah, like so they both win. You know, like Adam Cole's got a match already booked for next week. Roddy will probably get like Tony Nese or something.
There was a blank contract. I put my name on it. Hey, I put my name on a blank contract too. Oh, it turned out
MJF will show up on the screen. Yeah, you both won 2 in a row. Now you got to face each other. Winner gets me.
But obviously the Kingdom's turning on Adam Cole.
Well, I think that's what we're supposed to think, but I actually think that they're turning babyface.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, it's terrible, but I think that's what they're doing.
Then let Wardlow come out and kill them all.
Because remember, you saw the Kingdom shake hands with Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it was somebody else shook hands with somebody, like they were acting all babyface. Why, Paul? I don't know, because I think that they think that these guys can be baby faces. So what? Oh yeah, Roddy and Cole shook hands. There, and what did I write here? Oh, and they all hug. And I wrote, "What a bunch of geeks." And Kyle O'Reilly was watching backstage, and he was jealous because
friendship is stupid.
You know, it's weird. I don't know why he's jealous though, because he's got his buddies. He's got the conglomeration.
He got his butt kicked by those guys. What is it?
Yeah, and the thing is, what's the one prerequisite to get into the conglomeration?
Can't be an asshole.
You shithead, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, these 4 guys in the ring are shitheads.
Yes.
So they can't be in the conglomeration.
Yes, but Kyle misses being a shithead.
He does. Cool Kyle. So yeah, he's torn. And so
he's Natalie Imbruglia.
So we got a video package for Jamie Hayter and Penelope Ford. This was we saw this again was rather Rampage or Collision, and it was just Penelope Ford reminding people who she is, because she's been off for like 2 years. Apparently, the last match she had in AEW, she was tag team partners with Jamie Hayter. Right? There's not a person alive that remembered that.
I think that's correct.
I'm sure it is. At least they told us, and Tony Khan didn't expect us to remember it. So that leads to a promo with Renee with Jamie.
This was fantastic.
She was Jamie needs a tan. But besides that, she asked her how
she works at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg in Germany too, because she has like a shirt that makes it look like she's wearing the top of like the Oktoberfest gear. But okay.
Yes. So she asked how it felt to listen to Penelope Ford, and she said, "I listened to everything that came out of that woman's mouth. It's all BS. I wasn't handed anything. I slept on floors. I had minus in my bank account. I worked for this. When you wrestle in community centers in front of 20 drunk men for 20 quid, talk to me about being handed everything. I'm here looking for a fight, and you're nowhere to be found. So you want to be the victim of my return? How about I make you the victim of my return? So 2 weeks from tonight on Dynamite, will you be there?" And I wrote down, fuck yeah. They're booking a match for 2 weeks from tonight. I'm happy. If you're in wherever the hell they're going to be in 2 weeks, that's the show that's going head to head with NXT. We got Jamie Hayter and Penelope Ford.
Is there another head to head?
Yeah. It's the night after the election.
They're going to get killed.
NXT is moving to Wednesday. So at least it's on AEW's turf. But no,
never mind.
We got Jamie Hayter and Penelope.
I'm fine with this.
Hey,
we got Penelope Ford.
What's on the NXT show in 2 weeks? Nothing. They got nothing booked. We got Jamie Hayter and Penelope.
Well,
AEW.
But I still always laugh at the wrestler poverty story. Like I was working as an accountant, and then I went, the Timothy Thatcher story.
Well, WWE,
I'm actually just an accountant, and I just went and did indie shows at gyms, But then I went home and I made a pretty good living.
It's NXT that's at ECW Arena, not AEW.
Yes.
And they're sold out. They sold out in 1 day. The whole 600 tickets. Yeah.
Hey, look, it's 600 tickets in a sold out building as opposed to 600 tickets in a barn for AEW. So let's
no. I'm not throwing shade. Trust me.
I'm also, Penelope Ford is one of those, again, part of the hardcore division of women who don't have to be hardcore. So I'm always, she's gone, and her story, she's gone through it. Her and Kip.
I don't think that's going to be the main event. So
I don't either.
Yeah,
I think it would be a mistake for that to be the main event.
In fact, if I had to guess, my guess would be that the main event of that show is going to be Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin against Swerve Strickland and somebody.
Okay,
that's my guess. So, anyways, just a guess.
Leaking stuff to you?
No, okay. I'm just guessing. Next up, House of Black in action. So their opponents I didn't write this down. Jaden Monroe, Kevin Koa,
Three
and
men who have never been in my kitchen. Okay, let's just move on. It doesn't
Pirata
matter
de
who
la
these guys are.
Muerte.
Oh, Pirata de la Muerte, the Pirate of Death. Yes,
I guess none of these guys look Mexican, but that's his name. So Malachi immediately drops the first jobber, and he goes out of the ring.
That should have been the
dead.
match.
Yeah, he's dead. He's outside the ring. They got chalk drawn around him. So the second guy comes in, and his name is Kevin Koa, and he gets his legs swept immediately. They do a wide shot, and we see the jobber still outside in the ring. And so now we got all three House of Black guys in against the third jobber, who I guess was the Pierta de la Muerte. The second guy came in to try to save him, and he gets chopped to death. They do a double knee powerbomb by King and a stomp by Matthew, and they pinned a guy. Oh, Jaden Monroe. So I guess the guy outside the ring was Pirata de la Muerte. And yeah, so they got a quick win.
This crowd would have gone nuts if it had just been the kick and 1, 2, 3.
Yep. And really, like, what else they did after that was meaningless anyways.
Because all they were doing was setting up Buddy to call out Adam Cole. That's all they were doing. So just do the kick, 1, 2, 3. The other two dudes run the hell away, and they leave their dude.
Could have done everything they did after the pin. Like, the other guys could have come in and they could have laid them out.
This should have been far more of a Road Warriors match than, I mean, it was in a way, but still, I mean,
crowd loved it.
The brevity of it would have just popped everybody if you had just done.
But the funny thing is, these guys are baby faces, I think, and then Buddy Matthews gets a mic and he says, now that he's cleared, next week, Buddy Matthews, Adam Cole, baby.
Yes.
And he drops the mic. And
because we have no clear delineation of babyface and heel, because both teams have now turned 800 times, so we don't know who's who anymore. I mean, sure.
I think the fans are going to pick Buddy in this one.
Oh, I do. I don't know about that. Adam Cole has that. They love saying
no. They'll cheer at him when he comes out, but when the match is actually happening, I think they're going to get into Buddy.
Okay,
and it's not going to be a short match. This thing's going through at least one commercial.
No, this is going to be a black and gold takeover special.
Yeah, and I'm here for it. I love that stuff. So next week, which is Fright Night, we have Swerve and Shelton. We got Kamille and Statlander, and now we got Buddy Matthews and Adam Cole. And I thought they were doing a match, but maybe they're just doing a confrontation. But Kyle and Will are going to confront each other. And
my only prediction is that Abaddon appears during that women's match if she doesn't have a match on there, because it's Halloween and it's time to get Abaddon on TV.
Well, okay, I will counter that by saying the actual Halloween is on Thursday, which is ROH Day.
Okay.
And they've been pushing her on ROH.
Oh, have they? Okay, I didn't know.
And she's feuding with Athena. So I have a feeling we may be getting Athena and Abaddon for the title on Halloween.
No, that'll track too. And Athena, that actually might not be a bad match.
No, I think it'd be good because Athena's scared shitless of her.
Athena is ready to come back to AEW. Bring her back. She's so fantastic.
Yeah, she is. So Renee's backstage with Cole in the Undisputed Kingdom, asked him for his reaction to that challenge. And Adam Cole says, well, let me go ask him. So he gets face to face with the House of Black. And he says, you calling me out, huh? You got a problem with me? What's the deal? And Buddy says, to prove 1 point. And Adam says, what's that? And he looks at him and he says, because you're fragile. And he walks away. And Adam Cole is like, fucking got me.
You got emasculated here. I know. I like this. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because Cole was pissed.
I also liked the touch that both Malachi and Brody left because they knew there was going to be no trouble.
Yeah. No, they're not scared of these idiots.
They're not scared of these guys.
No. Can I just skip Kamille and Queen Aminata and go to the next thing?
My notes about Queen Aminata are oddly enough the same as last week. She needs
I don't
to
even remember last week. What happened last week?
Well, no, my notes were this. Number one, her entrance is far too blasé.
Okay.
With the one and the only thing. It's kind of very laid back. And number two, once again, in another match where she is a babyface.
Yep.
No chops.
No. And
the chops are what brought her to the dance.
Mm-hmm.
She got some forearms in there, and I think the main I enjoyed this match. I wouldn't say I liked it, but I enjoyed it quite a bit. Kamille needs to be rehearsing her selling because she doesn't have to sell that much, and when she does, it's a little bit over exaggerated. I'll put it that way.
I'm gonna peel back the curtain here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna read my notes verbatim.
Go for it.
This match. All right. Now keep in mind, I just write stuff down, and so sometimes when I'm reading my notes, I will elaborate on what I've written down to make the radio show better. But in this case, I really kind of didn't like this match at all, so I just want to read what I wrote. Okay. Aminata kicks out at 1 from a lariat. Menard says it might be her longest match so far. It isn't yet. Rana kind of takes Kamille down. Aminata hits her with a knee, and Kamille kicks out at 1. Aminata rolls her up. This match is ugly. Kamille gives her a world's strongest slam that Excalibur calls a backbreaker. They go through a break. Aminata gets a 2 count for the first time. She ties her up with some sort of leg hold. Crowd actually seems to be getting into this.
They start to get into it.
Rear naked choke that they call a dragon sleeper. They trade forearms. Kamille tries to powerbomb her, but Aminata rolls her up for 2. Kamille picks her up for a backbreaker in the torture rack and then drops her on her head, but Aminata kicks out. She gives her something resembling a neckbreaker for the win. 1.75 stars. That's everything.
Star ratings. Yeah. And I liked the aftermath too. I think Mercedes is a perfectly fine flake.
Yeah, she was good on ringside for sure. She was finish her, and like Kamille. Okay, here's my issue with Kamille. She looks confused, like almost all the time. Like I don't know why. And there's simple moves they were doing that they were screwing up.
It's, you know what it is? It's the fact that she plays stoic all the time. And then when she gets into a match, she's thinking.
Could it also be that she's not used to facing somebody as big as Aminata?
Yeah. I mean, it might just be performance nerves too.
Okay. Yeah. Live TV. Yeah. All that. Yeah. The big 2,000 seat.
You know, I'm wrestling on national TV. I don't want to mess this up. And it could be showing on her face a little bit.
And it's also, like the two of them are both inexperienced. So there's that.
Yeah. I think she had to call the match.
Yeah.
That might be it too. It's like, okay, I need to remember what I need to call here, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. It's one of those things where it was for me just watching her sell. It's not something that's natural.
You know what? I think you hit it, and it wasn't that. I think nobody was calling this match. I think that's what happened.
You think it was the ref,
or they were just winging it?
I don't think you don't wing this kind of a match. I think it was one of those things where it's like the referee.
No, I think they went over everything in the back and then forgot what they were doing half the time when they were in the ring.
That could be it too. That could very well be it.
Yeah. So, but again, the crowd got into it by the end, and like maybe I wasn't quite fair by giving, that score, but the something resembling a backbreaker, I guess it's called Road to Damascus. I'm not sure why. I guess maybe because she's a person of faith. I don't know.
She is a person of faith.
Yeah. So Statlander's out while they're celebrating, and she's wearing a Batman bikini. Right? Isn't that what that was?
Yes. No, you and I noticed the same thing.
Okay. So she comes to the ring for a stare down. Mercedes made fun of Statlander, tried to attack her from behind. Statlander no-sold it, made a comeback on them, and Stat and Kamille brawled. Mercedes grabbed her leg, and Kamille hit the twisting neckbreaker to lay her out, and then hit her with the Road to Damascus. So they're having a match next week, and I honestly have no idea what's going to happen here. Because logical booking would tell you that Statlander wins to set up a title match with the Mercedes, but it feels like it's too early for Kamille to lose. So
feels like a DQ. Feels like a DQ where they double team her.
But that's what WWE would do, and I don't think they're going to do that. So I'm really not sure what's going to happen here. What I actually think is going to happen, I think actually that Camille's going to lose, and that's going to kind of start the breakup.
Yeah, I think it's also too soon to break them up, but that's me.
Unless they don't think it's working. And I do think it's working, so I don't know.
I think they work well together, those two. Mercedes,
Kamille and Stat. Yeah, or Mercedes and Kamille. Yeah. I mean, some of they work really well when like they're in the ring doing a promo. It's when they're doing like I know our friend Larry's brought up the contract signing segment. That one wasn't good, but they're a good package. They definitely are a good package. Although Mercedes should not be wearing heels when they're together. She needs to be like a foot taller than her.
Yes, I would agree with that because it's the small person, big person team, and I think they also need to do more tag matches before they break them up.
Well, and by more, I would one.
At least, yeah. I mean, but I mean, they need to show them as a unit too, that they have a cohesion to them, kind of a thing.
So
otherwise, we're not going to care about them breaking up because there's nothing to it.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. So we go outside the arena. It's dark now. Babyfaces are still waiting for the Death Riders, and a car pulls up, and it's Christian and his crew. And he gets out and he's jabbing at these guys. And then he happens to notice Kip Sabian hiding between some vehicles, and he gets mad and he chases him away. So we go to the arena, and the announcers are just riffing. And then all of a sudden, Kip runs into the arena, and Christian, Nick Wayne, and Mama Wayne are following him. He cowers in the corner, and then Hook's music hits. And Renee stops him in the back, and he says, what's going on? You know, you're going to confront the person that thing. I hear you saw the footage. And he says, yeah, it's that scumbag in the ring right now, and I'm going to whoop his ass. And so he goes down to the ring, and Excalibur points out there's 4 people in the ring. Well, he did narrow it down to 3 because he said, I'm going to whip his ass.
God, I was rooting for Mama Wayne to be the one who beat up Taz.
Yeah, it's not Mama Wayne. So he gets down to the ring. He suplexed Nix. He pushed aside Kip, and he went after Christian. And then Kip Sabian gave Hook a low blow. And Christian says, look at me. I know why you're doing this. He's talking to Kip. And he says, I know why you took my pen and why you tried to interfere like that last week. I'll deal with you next week. But for now, get in that corner. And then he directed Nick to attack Hook. And then Christian hit him with the contract. And Nick hit him with Wayne's World. Christian gives him the kill switch on the contract. And he says, listen to me, Tyler. He's shooting, bro. This isn't what you think it is. You didn't have the right father. It's not what it seems. And he holds up the contract, and they all leave. And now Kip's with them. So I don't know about this segment.
I have no interest in Kip Sabian whatsoever. It's a bad character.
I have less interest in Christian because Kip Sabian's there.
Yes.
Yeah. And does he like have pictures of somebody or something? Like,
no, he's doing this because you mean in real life? Because the angle is he needs a father figure after his father died.
I think in reality he's just filling in for Kill Switch because
yes, he is.
Prayers and thoughts out to the former Luchasaurus who's dealing with a serious health issue right now, complications from pneumonia or something.
I know why you stole my pen.
Yeah, okay. But now he's going to be the guy in the group that Christian doesn't like.
Yeah. Or the Proby or Nick Wayne mistreats him or something like that. One of the
yeah. Maybe we'll get Penelope involved somehow. All right. So that leads to the main event. Private Party and Daniel Garcia against the Young Bucks and Jack Perry. And so there's not a lot to this match. I mean, it was exactly what you'd think it was. They kept cutting to the outside. All the jobbers are out there. They're still waiting for the Death Riders. They fought through a break. They came back. Elite's in control. They showed Stokely in the crowd, and he was taunting Zay. And Excalibur says this profound thought that Stokely is without a purpose if he doesn't have someone to manage. Really? A manager is without a purpose if he has no one to manage. Okay, well, thanks for pointing that out. So Zay made a hot tag. Matt pulled Garcia from the apron at the last second. I wrote, great. Perry powerbombed Garcia through a table on the outside. Sorry. Anyways,
I didn't like Matt Menard tonight. I don't think he has any heft as a main event announcer on the A show.
No,
I think he's much better on a B show where he can be kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to be serious, and
he was trying to be serious, but it wasn't coming off that way. And he actually ruins a plot point after this match. But good.
So Tony Schiavone called Isaiah Quinn at one point, or he called him Isaiah Quinn. That's what he did. And it's Isaiah Cassidy.
Yes.
Just stick to Zay and Quinn. That's why they do this with tag teams. Anyways, cut to the chase. Bucks went for a TK driver. Quinn stopped it, and then his team went for silly string, and Quinn pinned Matt with a roll up. So that was that. I will say for this match, it was fine. They did all their spots, and it was cool. Fans kind of liked it, but you could also tell the fans were just waiting for what was going to happen after or during the main event. Like they were waiting for the Death Riders to show up.
Right.
And they didn't. Like not yet anyways. So this match is over, and I think it was Zay grabbed the mic and he says, Young Bucks, we proved we got your number. We can beat y'all. We want a rematch for your AEW Tag Team Championships. And the Bucks are like, no. we're not doing that.
And then Menard goes, they want a 6-man.
Yeah.
I howled at that. I was like, you dope.
Yeah. No. So then Zay says, wait, Young Bucks, wait. I got an offer that you will absolutely not turn down. If you give us a rematch for those AEW Tag Team Championships and we lose, Private Party splits up. We're done. And they made a point of focusing on Mark Quinn, who was not happy about this plan. And if you'll remember, last week when Stokely was trying to recruit them, he put it in his ear. We all know Zay is a single star.
Yeah.
Now, if you've been following the career of young Stokely Hathaway, you will note that whenever he throws shade on one person, it's usually the other person that he ends up with. Yes. So I actually think he's going to end up with Mark Quinn.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah. Which
I think breaking up Private Party is stupid because they have no have no money.
They're finally getting over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but they're gonna, I think, I don't know, maybe. We've seen this a few times in WWE of late, but I don't think we've seen it in AEW for a while. So Nick liked it.
I think SCU was the last one.
Yeah, and that was like 4 years ago. So
yeah.
Nick likes it. He thinks it's a good idea, so he accepted. Next week, Young Bucks Private Party for those AEW World Tag Team Championships. And this is Quinn now. If we lose, we split up forever. And they focus on Garcia, who was like, he didn't like this either. So then they go to the big screen, and the truck finally shows up. Oh, I wanted to point out, when Christian's car showed up, these freaking idiot baby faces thought it was the Death Riders, even though we all know they drive a great truck. And this was a black SUV that Christian pulled up in, but they're morons. So
they are morons.
Yeah. So anyways, back on this big screen, the truck showed up. And so we're all waiting for the Death Riders to come out. But no, it's Marina. She gets out by herself, and she stood in front of all of them, and she's going to take on all these losers. And she probably would have kicked all their asses too. And the baby faces are in the ring with their staring at the screen, and they get attacked from behind, of course, by the Death Riders. It's Moxley. Moxley wasn't there. It was Pac, Claudio, and Wheeler. And they beat up Garcia and the Private Party. And then Mox shows up, and he's dragging Chuck Taylor's lifeless body. Goes right past the Bucks. They're standing on the and Perry. They're standing on the ramp, and Wheeler has Chuck Taylor in the ring, and he's going to Pillmanize him. And Excalibur reminds us that that Chuck is actually the guy that brought Wheeler in to AEW, and for a while he was one of the best friends. And then Claudio's like, no, and he puts it around his neck, and he stomped his neck. So Chuck Taylor's dead.
Did you hear the interesting Excalibur line though? They must have been in the building the entire time.
Oh.
Which means they might have had assistants. Which means we might have the Renee Young multiverse. Earth 3 Renee, the bad one, helped her.
Oh, you think Renee is part of this crew?
I don't care.
Think she's a Death Rider?
No.
But
we still have not explained the Marina Moxley relationship.
Or the Elite could be with them.
Yeah,
and this is, they're the ones that are letting them get away with all this. So, so Claudio murders him. Orange Cassidy made the save. Moxley's crew bailed, and then all the baby faces showed up in the ring. And the Bucks are saying, "Should we go? Should we go?" And I don't even know why, because the Death Riders are long gone at this point. And Perry says, "No, if you do that next time, it's going to be you." And Excalibur says, "This isn't what pro wrestling is all about." As the screen fades, and it's like, yeah, this actually is exactly what pro wrestling is all about.
No one's gonna care if the Bucks go and help though either. They're heels right now.
They wouldn't even have helped. Yeah, like no. I'm not sure why anybody expects the Bucks to help, because they're EVPs.
Yes, have you that's the story here, is that they should care more because they are officers of this company, and
meanwhile they've been trying to destroy it for the last 6 months.
This is ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous story.
Yeah, but whatever. I'm not into this main event angle that much, although I will say that I understand it more now than I did last week. So that's a plus. I'm way more into Will and Kyle. Like, that to me is, I'm all in on that feud. Like,
I don't think Moxley has a strong goal. Let's put it that way. Or he's not working towards it. He hasn't really enunciated.
I'm not sure he's figured out what his goal is yet.
Yeah, exactly. I still think he's confused. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you want to toughen everybody up, and this isn't your play.
Okay,
you're in charge.
Actually, I want to rephrase that. I do believe he has a goal and he has a purpose. His purpose is these guys are soft. I'm trying to toughen this place up. I'm trying to make this company serious again. But he can't figure out how to do that in the context of being a pro wrestling heel and having it work in storylines. So that's where the disconnect is. Like the actual
because
idea
he should be killing the learning tree if he wants to get rid of get goofy stuff.
FTR outrunners. Garcia, if he tried to dance, but he's not dancing. He should be happy with Garcia right now.
Yeah.
He should be happy with Private Party.
Orange Cassidy's not doing all the whatever stuff. He's just kind of there. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like that doesn't make any sense.
Dark Order.
Either.
Yeah. Kill those.
Yeah, kill them.
Yeah. And honestly, like Jay Lethal and
like Saturday Night Live 1984, fire in the building, and hey, John Lovitz, go wait in my limo.
He should have stopped. He should have parked Chuck Taylor off to the corner, stopped and grabbed Matt Menard and gave him a Death Rider through the table, and then went back.
There's absolutely no emotional resonance in killing Chuck Taylor either. He's an NPC.
Well, except that they were doing it to get at Orange Cassidy. So
that's cool, but still, it's like, all right.
Yeah, I like that. I actually like that. When I was watching it, I thought exactly the same thing as you did. Like, oh, they introduced this guy tonight just to kill him.
Yeah.
But in reality, it was, well, yeah, but they also told you he's Orange Cassidy's best friend. And
yeah, to me, they should have done this like 2 weeks ago. You introduce Chuck, you have him do a couple things backstage over the weeks, and then you kill him.
You know what?
But that's me.
You know what they could do next week? Is you could have Marina. You could have Marina show up in that Kamille Statlander match and just lay waste to Chris Statlander as a way to get at Orange Cassidy.
I'd be fine with that. Or Willow.
Maybe even before the match. Like I just drop her on the stage or something, and then that can set off a feud.
And then there's no match, but we still bring get Chris and Mercedes.
You get your heat.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see that Kamille match, so we wanted to see. You get an actual bonus that you don't have to watch.
See, you're just booking for yourself right now.
No, I'm trying to figure out a way to get Kamille involved.
No, but you know what? If the elite are involved in that, that's how Mercedes gets her involved in this story too, since she's quote unquote in the elite. That would make sense too. I could make that make sense if I was writing.
Or she's upset with the elite because they didn't do anything, and that's why she ends up with MVP's crew.
Okay, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah. All right. So that was the show. Like I said, I liked it.
I liked it.
I'm glad I wasn't here last week because then I might have thrown some water on your fire. And Matt wants to know if the T-shirt guy's going to appear on the Halloween episode. I have no idea who the hell he's talking about.
I don't know who that is either.
Okay, but he's a teeth guy from the Dare ROH who's buddies with Phil Brooks. So my guess is no. He'll probably be wherever Phil Brooks is. I guess I'm assuming he's going to be in Chicago because he's not going to Saudi. So let's get to your plugs in, Jeff. We're over time
at
here.
Crap Game 13 on Elon Musk's X. I also do a show on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network called Shake Them Ropes. This week, we're going to preview Halloween Havoc, go over all the news. Vader Club has not yet been selected, but it was a fun time last week when we did Capital Combat, so Nove is motivated to pick a match. He should get that to me tomorrow. I'll post that on the Shake Them Ropes account on Twitter when it's available, but that should drop sometime later this week, presumably Friday.
I'm at Paul Ace Fontaine on Twitter. Oh, Danhausen. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Danhausen's persona non grata in Tony Khan land.
Yeah. He'll probably be on a GCW show. I'm at Paul Ace Fontaine on Twitter. I got a busy weekend coming up, I think. I'm doing. But you
just said you got busy. I get started to laugh.
I'm doing I think it's a Double G show. I'm not sure what Garrett calls it, but I'm doing a show with Garrett tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be previewing UFC, and we're going to be talking about the UFC lawsuit, which is being close to being settled. Tom Lawler's going to be rich, so that's great. And then I think I'm going to be on Wrestling Observer Radio this week to talk about the UFC pay-per-view in Saudi, so that'll be fun. That's at WrestlingObserver.com if you have a subscription. And then next week, I'm also going to be on Fight Game Podcast, and Jeff and I are going to be reviewing. This will be right up your alley. Halloween Havoc 89. So that'll be fun. I don't think I've ever actually watched that. So I got to watch that in the next 6 days. So
I believe that was the debut of Doom, which is one of my favorite debuts.
Oh,
you gotta watch, but you gotta watch a pirated version because otherwise you won't get the Bob Seger music.
Okay. Thanks for filling me in. I'll look on YouTube, maybe see if it's on there before I go to the WWE network.
I could get you a copy if you need to.
We'll talk. Sure. Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good. Okay, so that's that. So, and then you can also check out fightgamemedia.com for my writings. I've been doing my match of the week every week for the thing. And right now, the leader in the clubhouse is probably, you know what? It might be that match tonight, Mark Briscoe and Chris Jericho. It's either that or Zack Sabre Jr. and Sonata from Royal Quest. So, anyways, for Jeff, I'm Paul, and this has been the Dynamite Show.